Hi guys, so recently, in the recent year, many of us are talking about Bitcoin. So the popularity of Bitcoin is sky high. So now, what is Bitcoin and is Bitcoin valuable? I've talked about this in the previous video, but latest term is ICO, Initial Coin Offering. So with the existence of ICO, with Bitcoin exist, the value decrease. So we will talk about this in this video. And also, what could we invest in terms of indirectly or directly investing in Bitcoins or ICO platforms. So I'm Greg, so welcome to our channel. If you're first to our channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and also click the notification button. And also, please like the Facebook page so you will be one of the first one receiving my latest videos. Thanks for the support. If anything you want to add to my video, please leave me the comments in the comment box below. Or if you have any questions, you can also ask a question. I'll answer you one by one. So first of all, we'll talk about Bitcoin. Previously, we talked about Bitcoin, about what's the hidden man behind controlling it, and how would the world become in 10 years or 20 years time. So how much would they own if everyone is using Bitcoin in the future? So in that video, we'll talk about Bitcoin will going to hit $5,000 and more. Yes, you heard me right, $5,000. At that time, it was only $3,500 to $4,000 for Bitcoin. It's now $7,000 per Bitcoin. So the only reason is about supply and demand. So regardless all the liquidity risk and the fraud and money laundering, all this risk, people are still buying Bitcoins because nowadays the main theme is about to invest and to do something directly without any middleman, without agencies, without platform regulations limitation. I know without those it's getting riskier, but I want to do my own thing. What I want in my mind, I'm able to execute without any regulations, right? So that is about supply and demand. So there's a picture right now saying keep calm and carry Bitcoin, and keep calm and carrying on mining, okay? That is how popular Bitcoin is. So is Bitcoin going to be a bubble, and is the bubble going to burst? First of all, I would say that Bitcoin, there's a bubble. But is the bubble going to burst? We'll never know. Because when you were small, you have played blowing the bubbles before, right? There are some bubbles that will burst when they're really tiny. But there are some bubbles you were able to blow a big bubble and it won't burst, okay? So look at this picture. There's some researchers doing comparison against earlier bubbles. For example, the tulip mania, today Bitcoin, and also the Mississippi bubble, and also the Great Depression. We all know this bubble. So right now, the Bitcoin bubble compared to the duration and also the growth, it is considered in mankind history the second biggest bubble, the Bitcoin. The biggest bubble is still 1619, the tulip mania. We have talked about it in the previous video. That is the mania about they suddenly found out that there are all kinds of colors in tulips. So they started trading and speculating tulips, okay? So in the end, it burst. So most of them really broke. So right now, we can say that Bitcoin, of course, there's a bubble in terms of the duration and the growth. But is the bubble going to burst? I don't think so. But with the existence of ICO, which is the initial coin offering, anyone can launch a coin just like a token. If you go to Chuck E. Cheese, just like a simple token, but it's e-token. Anyone can use this platform and do crowdfunding into this coin, into a coin that you think is worth money. So with this existence of ICO, the long-term value of Bitcoin decreases, right? But as long as the supply and demand exists, the price of Bitcoin will still go up. But what is ICO? So we'll talk about ICO first. So ICO, the term started in 2012. So the first coin offering actually started in 2013. The coin is Master Coin. So it is already existed for many years. Not until this year it's becoming a bubble and people it's really popular. People have been talking ICO all over the world. So just for this year, ICO market reaches $3 billion US dollars. So it's pretty insane. And the highest capital that raised is September, okay? So this is how people are using ICO now. So in the early stage of VC, for example, for a startup, in startup, we call it angel fund. We may not use ICO because it's really between your friends and relatives. It's the smallest scale of raising fund. But early VC, we're talking about venture capital, right? They're institutions that are professionally in investing in companies. So Their statistics show that almost 1/4 of the raised capital is using ICO blockchain as the media of investing in our companies. For example, Civic, they're launching a really big fundraising, okay? So they're using also ICO. But there are many risks among that. For example, is the ICO safe? Is the cryptocurrency safe? Is there about money laundering? Is it about shareholders trying to hide the names? And it's basically, that's the risk, but basically those are the same reasons why ICO are being attractive nowadays. Many countries are actually against with ICO and cryptocurrencies, but many are really validating ICO, for example, Japan. And one of those countries that rejects ICO and cryptocurrency is China, okay? So China and US do not really want ICO to exist, but in fact, we know that the Chinese government is banning of usage and trading of Bitcoins, right? But in fact, they can really transfer them to the Alibaba payment gateway, okay? It's just like an e-wallet, it's just like Apple Pay. Once you transfer the Bitcoins to Alibaba, you can just buy clothes, buy vegetable, buy milk, buy a house, just like normal, just like usual, right? So not exactly is banning the whole cryptocurrency, but the intention is to slow down or even ban the cryptocurrency, the existence and trading of cryptocurrencies, because they do not have regulations. ICO is just like as simple as an iOS platform. It's as simple as App Store or Play Store. Just like they're launching something, and through a platform, people can find the coin, find the app, they can download it. The only difference is, for example, Apple, they will have regulations and they will scan the virus and the contents of the app. But for cryptocurrency, they're nothing like that. So the main risk is when the whole world is using cryptocurrencies and even 1% of those are fake, 1% of those are money laundering, 1% of those are doing illegal things through that, it will be devastating. That is the risk. But again, that's the risk that we have to aware. So if you still think that the price of Bitcoin and also other cryptocurrencies will go up, there are several ways that you can invest in. The first way is, for example, Chicago Exchange. They're one of the biggest exchange in the world. They are going to launch their Bitcoin futures in late this year or early next year. And for example, Bitcoin options, they're doing the same. They're expecting to launch an option product in early next year. So if you want to directly invest in Bitcoin, you can consider using futures and options, right? But of course, there are leverages. But if you want to directly invest in Bitcoins without leverage, the second method is to mine a coin, right? So then many of us know that if you mine a coin, basically you will have to invest heavily in GPUs. So in the last video, I talked about what is GPU. It's more like tens of thousands of cores that are running and calculating for you. It's the hardware that you need to mine the coin easier and faster. That's the second way. The third way is to invest in Bitcoin, opening account in those Bitcoin exchanges. There are many exchanges online. You do not have to go there offline, open an account, just like regular Bitcoin. Imagine that it's as easy as buying a token from Chuck E. Cheese. It's almost exactly the same thing. But people use this as a token and use it as not just to spend it inside Chuck E. Cheese. You can use it and also spend it outside. For example, buying vegetable, going groceries, investing in other companies just like VCs. That is something about the cryptocurrency and the ICO. So the platform is just like Chuck E. Cheese. They're offering you and you hooking both sides up to do a crowdfunding. That is about ICO and cryptocurrencies. And the fourth way is about the ETF. So there are a few Bitcoin ETFs that are going to be launched in the near future. For example, you can consider the ETF GBTC. That's an ETF that is correlated with the price of Bitcoin that you can consider, but you're not literally holding a Bitcoin. You are using a fund or, for example, contracts to invest in Bitcoins. So in my point of view, just like doing apps, I think every single app can be successful or can be a failure, but the platform itself will be more long-lasting, right? So I believe Bitcoin with the existing ICO and everyone can do crowdfunding just like this side. You can look at the JP Morgan, for example, in this website, it's called Crypterium. There's one of many websites that issuing the ICO, issuing the cryptocurrency for people to crowdfund, and the coin and the cryptocurrency will launch. That's how you use it. There are time, there are days, there are hours for you to use Visa card, Master, or you can wire transfer to buy a token. So with the existence of ICO, the value, long-term value of Bitcoin will decrease, right? But I'm not saying that Bitcoin is going to zero, but in fact, if you look at the chart, the usage of Bitcoin against all non-Bitcoin market cap is going to decrease from March 2016 to summer of this year is decreased from 90-ish% of people that using cryptocurrencies to use Bitcoin. But right now it's dropped to 40%. So I think that the market is really going down, just proving that what I talk about is other cryptocurrency is easier to be launched, so the long-term value of Bitcoin will decrease. It's not going to zero. But as long as the whole market is going up, even a little pie of this market will worth a lot. So that is what I'm talking about. So the ICO will be more long-lasting. So how do I involve in ICO platforms? So one of the ways you can involve in ICO is through this website. So as long as you have some regular payment that you can pay real money, real currencies, and you can buy a token within these days, now you have the JP Morgan cryptocurrencies. So that is something you can do to expose in this ICO market, cryptocurrency market, and the Bitcoin markets. So technically, right now, if you talk about Bitcoin against US dollar, after the previous video, it has broken above even the long-term channel. So now the target should be $8,300 per Bitcoin against USD. So anytime it drops below 7,200, technically you can cut your profit and you still profit a lot, okay? So whether or not you want to invest or not, to conclude, I would tell you that all the cryptocurrencies, they're full of risk. So I suggest you only invest for a little bit. Just because of that, because they don't have regulations, they do not have limitations. So there are all kinds of reasons and all kinds of different point of views all over the world studying and analyzing Bitcoin. So that is only my personal point of view, okay? So they're full of risk, but in midterm, as long as the supply and demand is not equal, the price, not only for Bitcoin, for all cryptocurrencies will go up. But for longer term value, because of existence and popularity of ICO, each of the long-term value of every single cryptocurrency will decrease. So that is something, the point of view for you guys to think about. And also, I provide 5 to 6 ways for you to invest in Bitcoin, other cryptocurrencies, and also involving in ICO platforms. So that's about it. If you have any comments or you have any experience in terms of investing in Bitcoin, please share to us all and leave me comments in the comment box below. Not to forget to give me likes and share this video to your friends. I'll see you next time. Investing Make Easy. Goodbye.